Welcome to the next session in my Human Design Creative Flow 6 series session. Today we're talking about the experiment. We're going to get into the strategy of the human design system. We're going to talk a bit about black and white. We're going to talk about all of the types, the generators, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors. Their unique strategies and how to experiment with it. Firstly, just to get this started, we're going to talk about black and white and everything in between. So yin and yang, the polar opposites, the dark black, the light white, and all of the iterations and grayness in between. So this is the human design system. It's the this and the that. It's the yin and the yang. There are polarities, there are shadows, there are lightness, and strategy enables to see things correctly and sort of like work out. That's what our experiment does, working out the right time to be in flow with our decision making, with this awareness of all of these different aspects, the light and the dark, throughout all of the different, gates and activations in the system. So awareness of our individual mechanics is what enables that clarity of decision making, and we can start to sink in, get to know our rhythms and sink in with our flow state, with that awareness. So talking about the strategy is a terminology in human design, which is like, how are we responding in the world? I guess for manifesting generators and generators, it's literally to respond to external stimulus. That is our key strategy, waiting to respond to external stimulus. External stimulus can come in many forms. We can be responding to the bird chirping in the tree. We can be responding to, a busy street and how we like move around it. So it's this constant interaction of awareness of being interactive with our environment, with our opportunities in our relationships. It's a different kind of energy than, forcefully trying to initiate or direct where we're going next. We really need to be very open and sympathetic. So open and enveloping is the auric type. The manifesting generators can move between multiple projects at once. So there's this element of manifesting generators being able to close up time a little bit more. So they may have more kind of external stimulus or more, I don't want to use the word impulse, because impulse isn't always the correct inner authority, but the same energy. So manifesting generators, because we're defined with the sacral, it's about that movement towards and that energy towards. So when they're feeling the movement towards projects, a manifesting generator may feel that more often, that they need to change into different projects, whereas just the generators are here for a little bit more endurance, a little bit more stamina. They're kind of sticking their energy to that one thing. They kind of dig in and get it done. But strategy is always responding to external stimulus. That is the element of experimentation in human design. Once you understand your strategy and your definition, then taking it out into the world and practicing it and working out how you will interact and engage with the world. What do you notice that you're responding to in your world, and how can you sort of continuously wait and check in with your inner authority as to, how and when you should be engaging with making the decision to respond to that external stimulus. Manifestors are here to inform and initiate. That is their strategy to experiment with. So when there's something that they desire to do, or they have the will to achieve something they wish to prove, then they should not be asking for permission, but they should be telling somebody, or the people who are directly going to be impacted of what they're about to do, to inform them. It sort of like gives them the opportunity for the others to kind of get out of their way and just let it happen. They can feel like, from the other side of the fence, if you're not the manifester, if you're on the other side of the fence, you may feel like there's a bit of force involved, and there is. The aura is closed and repelling in order for that person to be able to initiate something. It takes that oomph, it takes that kind of directed willpower to make that new, to initiate that new thing. And so it's kind of like that awareness as we build it, we learn to like not actually be so um annoyed at one another, right? Because we're understanding the synergy and we understand the relationship and how this all actually clicks in and works together. So becoming familiar is what, gives us that ability to flow and move through, because we know what to expect. Generally, like, well, we know the scope of what we can think to expect. The manifestors are not here to take directions. They're here to follow their own authority and manifest freely. They really want to make an impact on the world, and they repel others that will get in their way. They're really creating portals for new things to be built. So the manifestor will inform, initiate, and then the generators can come in and actually, build that thing that was visioned by the manifestor. Projectors, their strategy is to be recognized and be invited for their wisdom. So that recognition and invitation allows them to focus that focused and absorbing, energy beacon. Then they can provide that direction, which increases the productivity of the other energy types. The other energy types can be like quite closed off to the direction if the projector doesn't wait for recognition and the invitation. They're here to master systems, so they're really like able to sort of see a system and which system might work for the generators to get what they need to get done, or for the manifestors to kind of communicate with the generators, like how to do the work. The projectors are in there to say, this is where we need to focus the energy. If a projector isn't getting the recognition or the invitations that they need, they might want to have a look at recognizing their own abilities. And once they have that sense of success as a theme and they feel successful in the mastery they've already attained, and they recognize that themselves, then that can help to stimulate those external invitations as other people start to recognize them. So projectors can certainly talk about the systems that they've mastered, or they can talk about their ability to see things. And if they want to try and poke for an invitation, you might say to someone, can I tell you what I've noticed? And then you're able to activate that person saying, yes, can you tell me what you've noticed? Which is the invitation, which kind of opens up their receptivity. So just for that to notice, again, with the experimenting, with understanding of definition and then understanding the strategy or the inner authority, then the strategy of recognition and invitation, you then get to play in the world and work out how that feels and what it looks like, and how you can start to notice when you do get a recognition and you do get an invitation, and how that feels and how successful that feels. And then you're starting to build those like neural pathways and that awareness of possibility of what it feels like to follow that alignment thread. Again, opening up to, the flow state, which is available with that being connected. Finally, we have the reflector. So the reflector, their strategy is to wait for the 28-day lunar cycle before they're making their decision. So they're unobtrusive in their auric presence because they're completely open and reflecting the field around them. So when they're going to make a decision, not only are they're waiting 28 days, but it's that combination of feeling that surprise and awe as well before they're moving into that decision. So they're born with a special attunement to the cosmic environment, really able to pick up what's going on. And they reflect the world to the world injustices and in authenticity. So I feel like a lot of reflectors are probably quite ill, quite sick, if they're in situations where they're reflecting the community around them. What Western society has sort of done is externalize all of our issues and ailments, the symptoms that we have, as being because of, something that it's just like, I don't know, it's just something that happens to you. You just like get cancer randomly, or you get respiratory diseases from poisons. And that's a really, really controversial thing to talk about. and we can split hairs a little bit there as to whether, poisons make us sick, or um, we make ourselves sick if the poison doesn't uh, clear out organically with the system of our body. Like, I'm not deep enough to understand. I think something like poison is still impacting our body. It's still creating a conflict shock. And again, I'm kind of mixing modalities here. So that's Germanic New Medicine if you want to look that up. But I guess I'm more thinking of mental health issues. Like you can find reflectors who have a lot of mental health issues because they're around people who are quite, inauthentic or clouded, or forceful in what they're trying to do. Or people that are just, not living in their authentic self, then they're going to be reflecting something quite unwell back to the community. They can appraise and read transient auras, and they magnify the frequencies of everything. So, yeah, like that's really unwell communities where reflectors are going to do really poorly. And in their optimum state, they're going to be out in nature where they can get that replenishing from Mother Nature in kind of a more organic and natural environment. So these are all of the strategies of the types. You will be one of those depending on, what your type is and what your inner authority is. And like I said, it's all about experimenting with how these feel, how they align for you. So test them out, try them out, go back through these slides if you have your own chart done, and you can start to understand a little bit about the importance of understanding these different components. So pleased to talk to you again today, and I will see you for the next session tomorrow.